Am I overthink everything, or is it unhealthy? How do I find the words? TLDR, I've F24 been with my boyfriend, M25, for almost 6 years, but things have gotten complicated recently. He asked for space to work on his mental health, and while I agreed, his actions have made things confusing. I can't tell if he's been controlling or disrespectful of boundaries, and I feel like I'm losing myself in the relationship. I've been trying to communicate my needs, but I'm not sure if I'm overreacting or if this relationship is worth saving. I'm feeling lost and stuck, unsure of where we stand. I, F24, have been with my BF John, M25, for almost 6 years. About 6 months ago, he asked for some space to work on some of his mental health. I had no problem with this. I want him to be happy and healthy whether that's with me or not. He said he feels he has no friends anymore, that he wanted to work on his mental health. I said I want that for him, that those things are important and he should figure that out. He said he thinks we're toxic together, that the relationship can feel like an obligation. I asked him if he would be able to communicate what he needs from me. If he was unhappy and needed to break up, if he would be able to tell me. And he said no. I said I can't be in a limbo state of not knowing if I'm supporting him in the right way, just guessing my way through things. That I don't want to be an obligation. That he should take time to figure this shit out, go to therapy, and I would do that same for myself. He agreed. So that's what I did. I wasn't texting him constantly, I wasn't trying to keep tabs on him, but he was trying to contact me nonstop. All-day texts and calls. I expressed my view of things. I'm not mad at him, just doing what I thought we agreed on. But he still wanted to talk and act like nothing had changed. I responded with, "We broke up, everything has changed." To which he said something along the lines of, "We can still talk like normal. It's still me." I admittedly found myself checking his location. We've had them shared for years now. I know that's not the best thing to do. I realized what I was doing was an invasion of privacy for him and unhealthy for me, so I turned the sharing off. He almost immediately called me and got so mad, accusing me of hiding things, asking where I was going, who I was with. For the record, I was home in bed. So I told him the truth, that I was checking his location and it felt wrong. He was still upset and told me to put it back on. He later said we never did break up, but when I sent him the text I referenced earlier, he never denied it. So now we're in a weird place. John still wants to remain friends, although to me it still feels like he expects the circumstances of a relationship, even though we never officially got back together. Once I got some space, I felt I started noticing some manipulative behaviors, small lies, denials. But he always explains it, and it feels reasonable, and was worried I was overreacting. I've had a hard time mentally. My grandpa was dying of cancer. I spent almost 2 weeks straight with my cousins, alternating shifts to care for him. It was hard, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. John was trying to be there for me, I think. But I needed space to be with my family. And I told him that. I said things like, "I feel you supporting me, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm okay right now just being with my family. When I need someone to confide in, I will tell you." I was trying to keep myself composed for so many other things at that time. A few hours of sleep at a time, my full-time job, my mom, my cousins. If I fell apart, I couldn't get back together. John didn't take well to this. He kept saying I didn't want him around, that he thought he was family and should be there, that I'm pushing him out and not communicating. I was trying. A day before my grandpa passed, we knew it was just a matter of time. John texted me, "Can I give your apartment key back?" Which I gave him for emergencies and to help check on my dog months before. I couldn't respond. I was working with my family and the hospice nurse, and it all felt like too much. He then called me over and over until I answered. I told him that's fine, he can give it back, but I can't talk about this right now. I don't have the mental space. I want to talk through this, but I just can't right now. He kept pushing it, but after I broke down in tears, he said he was sorry. He later apologized again and said it was an asshole move. But I'm having a hard time letting it go, maybe unfairly, but I've told him how much that hurt me. He did end up coming by later that day, and I introduced him to a family member as my friend. He was very bothered by this and later said, "Boyfriend sounds better." At the time, I thought he was trying to be cute. I again said I can't talk about this now, but expressed my confusion based on his earlier question about returning the key. When my grandpa finally did pass, John was there. I finally cried, hugging my aunt. He later said he felt so uncomfortable in that situation that I should have gone to him to feel comforted enough to cry, and said the fact I didn't showed me a lot. I am not a perfect person. I know my part in this. I know I need to set firmer boundaries and stick with it. I know I need to work on my communication. And it's a work in progress. I have been going to therapy and really trying to take steps to be better to myself and the people around me. I try to set boundaries, but I feel like he doesn't respect them. I admittedly am not very strong in reinforcing the boundaries and am trying to do better. For example, for my mental health, I've been taking meds for sleep and trying to keep a consistent bedtime. I've been clear about this in my reasoning: go to bed on time, wake up on time, get to work on time, etc. But if he's over, he won't leave. I tell him when we agreed to hang out that I wanted to be in bed by 10 p.m. So when it comes close, I say I'd like to be in bed soon, and he responds with things like, "If you want me to leave, then I'll just leave," or "Did you even want me here in the first place?" Or, "Well, you didn't want me to spend the night," in a defensive tone. I'm not trying to come across as pushy, but maybe my intentions are coming across wrong. He tries to initiate sex, and if I shut it down, he'll keep trying. But say it was me who started things. Sometimes I feel like he won't leave until he gets it. He'll call me over and over if I don't answer right away, even if I'm just sleeping or something, sometimes like 15 times in 10 minutes. The record is 38. He's implied I'm cheating even though I never would. He said he was going to go to therapy but quit after a few weeks because him and the provider weren't clicking, and then he just never found a new one. I don't feel this is all healthy for either of us. But every time I try to talk to him about it, he comes back with things I did wrong, that he's always prioritized me, that he always makes accommodations for me, and that I never make time for him. And then I feel shitty. I question if what he says is true. I feel like I lose all my words. My brain shuts down and I just end up apologizing. So now I feel stuck. I have no idea where my head is. If I'm in the wrong, if I really am not being a good partner like he claims. And I have no idea how to bring any of this up. All my friendships have been pushed out since we got together. I almost have no one outside of him. I feel disappointed that I can't stand up for myself and mad that I let it get this far. If I'm taking insignificant things and making it bigger, or it's my fault for not being clear enough. If I should dedicate myself to the relationship more to mend things, but also if it is something I can spend the rest of my life fixing. I'm sorry this is so long and rambling. I'm not really sure what I'm expecting to get out of posting this. If anything, I guess putting my thoughts in one spot is helpful. I just feel so clouded and alone. Throwaway account.